I am going to talk about a Fuji camera wearing a Nikon t-shirt. I'm going to talk about the Fuji X-E4. It is one of the most self-effacing and elegant cameras I have ever used in my experience with cameras. Self-effacing, moderate, almost sort of shy of its own existence. Takes as little space as possible. If you ask me, symbolically, this is a great quality to have in this screaming look at me world. And it takes really good pictures. The experience of shooting with X-E4 is different. Let me explain. It's a unique experience. This is a camera that psychologically puts you in a position where you do not attach too much value to a photo that you are taking. You perhaps plan less and shoot more with the X-E4. I do not feel that self-importance for the act of taking pictures. With this around your neck, you are no longer a serious photographer who must produce world-beating pictures each time you click. You just shoot. Shooting becomes a simple, somewhat casual, joyful activity. You take pictures that you otherwise perhaps wouldn't have taken. It's the same thing that happens when you shoot with your mobile phone. There's no judgment at all fun and no judgment. And that, precisely that, frees you, empowers you, at least it does to me. It is actually amazing how much of photography and filmmaking is about the subtle ways that our minds work. And I think it is simply baffling to realize that the Fujifilm engineers and designers understand this. Because when I think of engineers, I think of a bunch of hyperlogical nerds who don't give an F about your feelings. The camera weighs almost nothing. It has quite a bit of plastic in its body, uses the same older, smaller battery, has a tiny EVF that works when you need it to. The screen tilts down and tilts up all the way facing you, so you can reliably vlog with the Fuji X-E4. The autofocus performance is actually surprisingly good. The Fujifilm X-E4 has that 4th generation 26 megapixel X-Trans sensor. What is surprising is that the body has most of the recent picture profiles from Fuji. Now the Fujifilm X-E4 is a simple camera in the sense that it doesn't have a lot of things going on in terms of buttons and dials and all that. What you have is the bare minimum. Things are stripped down to the essentials. There are only 3 customizable buttons and no rear dial. I would have actually liked a rear dial very much. However, I understand the importance that is given to keeping it clean and minimalistic. The flip forward screen makes it really good for vlogging, like I said, or even recording in studio. What I often missed is the D-pad. Those 4 buttons really help in some scenarios. But now that you do not have the D-pad, your mind focuses on the essential functions that you'd like to have while shooting. only the essentials. The single-minded hyperfocus makes it such a no fuds camera. I would recommend two lenses for the XE4. The first one is the XC35mm f2. It's a light plastic mount lens, but it's really sharp. It's only 130 grams in weight. The second one is the 27mm f2.8. It's a pancake lens that makes some noise, but it's quite sharp, and it's now the new one is actually weather resistant. So these are the two lenses that I think go very well with the Fuji X-T4, because these two lenses complement the size and the weight. Now I must tell you a few things that I do not like about the Fujifilm X-T4. Firstly, the on-off switch is too light. It's so light that it's sort of always, if I switch it off and put it in the bag, when I take it out, I'll see it as sort of burned through 50% of the battery life, because it got turned on. The switch got turned on when it was in my bag. The solution is to keep the battery out and then keep the camera inside the bag. The only other issue that I have with the X-T4, the only other issue that I have is really the EVF. I think the XE5, the next gen XE camera, should figure out a way to have a slightly larger EVF. It's just going to make the best iteration of this camera close to being a legend. And lastly, I think the rear dial in a camera is sacrosanct. One of the reasons why I could never convince myself to buy the Sony A7C is the lack of the front dial. I do not think that the front and the back dial should be moved under any circumstance, as long as you're designing a photography camera, because there are three fingers that tickle the camera: this, and this. Now, if you have watched till this point and you're still unsubscribed, do me a huge favor and subscribe to this channel, so that you can see me talk about some interesting lenses coming up very soon for the Fuji mount. See you very soon with another one.